Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to take a look how this virus might be affecting legalization efforts across the U.S. So initially, it's going to have some effects pushing everything to the back burner as some of the sessions have been delayed, or you have some state senates and houses trying to figure out how to work from home. It's not working out all that well. So all in all, this virus is going to have an effect on legalization efforts in the short term. You see state legislatures pivoting to focus more pressuring issues, citizen groups struggling to collect enough signatures to place initiatives on this November's ballots. I think we will see a fast track for delivery. That's obviously an important issue with cannabis being deemed essential. It's not right to be able to have to go into the store and pay in cash. Since you can't pay online, that's a federal offense. So they're going to have to create banking and create delivery, and I believe that'll all be fast tracked. So with the U.S. government recently printing off trillions of dollars for all kinds of different stimulus packages, they're going to have to take a close look at how to generate some revenue. So that might speed up legalization. There's reports out about potential state bankruptcies. Illinois is pretty bankrupt. There's a lot of different states out there. So there's a report out from DataTrek. So in the report, there's an analyst that said that cannabis legalization could help cover a significant portion of the revenue shortfalls that are created by this pandemic. So the best solution, according to this report, is that states legalize and tax cannabis sales in order to create a new stream of strong, reliable revenue. So Colorado, as they give an example, has less than 6 million inhabitants, but managed to raise more than 300 million last year in cannabis taxes and revenues from licenses and fees. Pointing to Colorado's success story could be the perfect inspiration for distressed states like New York, where an annual fiscal revenue is expected to fall 4 to 7 billion lower than the projected 87 billion due to this virus. In 2018, the previous state's comptroller estimated that legalization and taxing of cannabis sales could bring the state as much as 1.3 billion in annual tax revenue. So we are seeing that some U.S. senators are requesting that cannabis be included in this coronavirus aid. There's a group of about 10 U.S. senators urging congressional leaders to include small state legal cannabis businesses and ancillary companies in any future coronavirus relief package. Canada and some U.S. states might look towards municipal bonds to help government deficit budgets. The difference between like a municipal bond and a revenue bond, you may have had a stadium that you didn't vote for, but it got built anyways, and you were asking, well, how did that get built? We didn't vote for it. Well, a municipal bond is something you have to vote for, and then it's paid for with taxpayer money. Versus a revenue bond is something that the people don't vote for. It could be built and paid for by the revenues of the stadium, for example. So this Forbes article kind of asks an interesting question of, can cannabis municipal bonds help government budgets? The article goes in to say that cannabis-based municipal bonds could offer governments and financial institutions a viable and creative way to aid in the recovery of lost fortunes due to the virus pandemic. This would allow for state and local governments that are used to traditional financial institutions to start kicking around serious ideas to look at local initiatives and infrastructure. So using Denver as an example, here's a breakdown of their cannabis revenue source by type for 2018. And here's how their tax revenue and allocation has evolved over time. So with this example, Colorado could translate its tax revenue in short-term bond capacity of 166 million and long-term bond capacity of 591 million to use for things like educational initiatives and infrastructure. So given the extreme financial pressure put on states and municipalities due to the crisis, government leaders should consider looking at every available option to finance critical initiatives and infrastructure projects. In markets with sufficient demand, cannabis-based municipal bonds could present valid options. So as we look to the next 12 months, state and local government bodies are going to have to look at their revenues declining due to the shuttered businesses and have to find new avenues to make up for those lost revenues. All in all, it's an interesting concept. I'm not an advocate for that. I think that rather than selling the futures, they should just be a little bit more accountable and responsible in the present and not sell future revenues. So just spend it as you get it. You're just going to have to deal with the temporary deficit somehow. But yeah, I don't really look at bonds and selling debt as a way of moving forward. I think debt is something that as a last resort. So we are in serious uncharted water. So I think they're going to have to look at any way they can, including state bankruptcies. So have to wait and see what happens. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.